Hello controllers, Michael speaking again. In this video we're going to talk about strips, racks and radar identification of aircraft. A flight strip, or strip, is the basic working unit of an ATC. Every strip represents a controlled aircraft, or at least one that is expected soon. The ATC-pie interface is organized with different panes that you can dock and redock, or even close. The one we're interested in for this tutorial is the strip pane. Should it be invisible and you looking for it, just pull down the View menu and click on Strips to pull it up again. Now let's see how we create a strip. In ATC-pie, the easiest way is just to learn the shortcut F2. Hit the key and it will pull up the Strip Details dialog, in which you can fill all details that you already know. For example, the call sign, the type of aircraft, whether it's a VFR or IFR flight, etc. For airport entries such as departure and arrival, typing a dot character will automatically fill the box with the current position, in my example San Francisco. You can also add assignments on the right hand side, such as a transponder code right here. We'll be coming back to this later. Any information that you don't know, you can just leave the field blank. When you save and close the strip detail sheet, it appears in the strip pane. Notice that some of the information that you've filled in is displayed there as well. Now a controller would never manage traffic with just a pile of flight strips in front of him or her. Instead, they typically stack them in a relevant order on what are called racks. In ATC-pie, you can create different racks by pulling down the little rack button menu, selecting Create New Rack and typing a name for it. I'll be illustrating the creation of a first rack called Ground, usable for example for all aircraft either taxiing for departure or having cleared a runway. Notice the empty rack that appeared here with its name on its tab. Now let's create two more racks, one for approaching aircraft and the last one for airborne departures. Notice that the rack tabs can be reordered. Unless you take action, F2 will always default strips on the unassigned rack, but you can create a strip directly on the selected rack by clicking on the little plus strip on rack button underneath the tabs. Another option is to hit F2 and to rack the strip from the detail sheet, as shown here. While we have it open, see how you can add freehand comments on the strip and how it pops up as a tooltip when you mouse over it on the rack. Let's create a few more strips. Now the interesting thing is, strips can move across racks. Of course you can open the detail sheet and change the rack there, but you can also drag and drop them either within a rack, for example when you're reworking your sequence, or across racks. In our example, when an aircraft has taken off, we'd move our strip from the ground rack to the departure rack. Now that we've learned how to manipulate strips and racks, let's see how they relate to the task and how they can be useful. Let's connect to the network. Remember how radar contacts appeared on the radar screen? Most of the time we only pick up position and altitude from the transponders at most. For example, we have 3 contacts here, but if we were to control them we wouldn't easily know who is who. That's where our strips will come in handy, as the idea will be to link radar contacts to strips. The way you do this in ATC-pie is by using the middle click. You'll be using that a lot. For example, if I've identified this bottom guy here as my X-ray Echo Echo, I can link it to the appropriate strip by clicking on one and then middle clicking on the other. Notice how the selection of one now is tied to the other as well. Now here's the second contact linked to the X-ray Charlie Charlie strip. Undoing such link is easy. You can either pull down the little strip menu and unlink the aircraft, or use a shift middle click as demonstrated on this second contact. When a contact is linked to a strip, double-clicking on either of the two will open the strip detail list. Notice how strip information transfers to the radar contact label when it's available. Call sign is the obvious one, but also the aircraft type gets transferred, as well as some route information on the second line, and there's more to be discovered as well.
Your rack choices and strip distribution can also be reflected on the radar scope by assigning colours to your racks. For example, I'll assign a dark yellow colour to this rack. See how the contacts and labels are coloured accordingly on the scope. Now before linking a contact to a strip, how do we make sure which aircraft is the right one? Let's go through a typical aircraft identification technique using the transponder codes and see how ATC-pie assists us. Take this strip for example, to which we've already assigned a transponder code 3456. Let me switch to my UFO friend and say the pilot switches his transponder on and squawks the corresponding code 3456. ATC-pie will detect this unique match between a code picked up and the codes assigned on the strips. The strip becomes decorated with the blue color and the aircraft is marked in blue as well. That is your cue to link the two elements with the middle click. Should there be another strip with the same code or another aircraft squawking the same code, ATC-pie would then remain silent regarding this match. So my advice is, anytime someone makes initial contact with you, hit F2 and type in the call sign they'll give you. Fill in all the details you can consider a rack straight away, and if you feel this is useful, like a new contact from a VFR pilot, pick a transponder code straight away, possibly from a transponder code range you've defined. You can do that from the airport specific settings from the options menu, and tell the pilot to squawk that code. This will ensure a strip that you can then link to the contact whenever the blue marker comes up.